The market has been crashing really bad. I want to start this off by talking about this clip by Donald Trump. It's a very interesting clip because this clip came out on April 3rd. So about a week ago was when this clip was released. This was before all of the market crashes. Right now, this is what we're looking at. The worst 3-day performance for the S&P 500 since October of 1987. This is all because Donald Trump created it due to his tariffs. This isn't because COVID. This isn't because of the '08 housing crash. This isn't because of the 1930s depression. This is literally manufactured by Donald Trump and his tariffs. This is what he had to say on April 3rd, which was about a week before all of this came crashing down.
The markets today are way down, the worst day in years because of the tariffs. So how's it going?
I think it's going very well. It was an operation, like when a patient gets operated on, and it's a big thing. I said this would exactly be the way it is. We have $6 or $7 trillion coming into our country, and we've never seen anything like it. The markets are going to boom, the stock is going to boom, the country is going to boom, and the rest of the world wants to see, is there any way they can make a deal? They've taken advantage of us for many, many years. For many years, we've been at the wrong side of the ball, and I'll tell you what, I think it's going to be unbelievable. The thing that people have to talk about, we're up almost to $7 trillion of investment coming into our country, and you'll see how it's going to turn out. Our country's going to boom.
The last time that we had tariffs, well, one of the biggest, most notable times that we had tariffs was in 1930. And it actually was what triggered the Great Depression, was the implication, was putting tariffs onto our economy. That's what triggered the Great Depression, which is what a lot of people don't know about. Actually, every single time we have imposed tariffs on our country, we have gone into one of the most economic downturns. We're not talking about recession, we're talking about depression. That's exactly what happened in the 30s. That's probably what's going to happen this time if he doesn't change course immediately. But the stock conversation became so bad that even Fox News started crashing out over it, which makes sense because all of the markers are showing us that it's not good. So this is what Fox News had to say, which I think is very fascinating.
It is going to have an effect on Main Street. Some things will become higher priced. We will see some products actually be raised in price because companies will pass on the cost of tariffs to consumers. I would expect that. That's why you have some people saying that we could see a recession, we'll see a growth slowdown. This morning, Nancy Lazar, who I follow very closely, and I think she's terrific, from Piper Sandler, she says if the tariffs stay in place for at least the next 6 months, even if only 50% of the price shocks where we're seeing products go higher in price show through the economy, U.S. real GDP is on track to decline about 1% in the second quarter and in the third quarter, with unemployment rising. But look, it is going to have an effect on me.
But also the internet, what reacted to the tariffs, and I thought it was so funny. So this person said, sorry, I'm a little behind. Was it DEI or a trans athlete that crashed the stock market? Which this got over 117,000 likes, and I think it was very well deserving because was it DEI or was it a trans athlete or was it just a fucking idiot that you guys cult follow and decided to elect as president? Let me know. The entire stock market just gained and lost more money in seconds based on an unverified tweet than it was worth 30 years ago. Why is that? That's because this was the worst 3-day performance of S&P since 1987. I would say 1987 is about 30 years ago. Do you understand how bad that is? Also, what I don't think a lot of people are realizing is that this stock market crash, screw the billionaires. The billionaires, we'll talk about how it's impacting the billionaires in a little bit, but who is it impacting the most? It's impacting the people who have pensions. It's impacting the people who are retiring, who have 401ks. If you have a retirement fund, if you have a Roth, if you have a 401k, if you have any kind of retirement account, you are invested into the stock market. If you have a pension, you are invested into the stock market. If you have an account at banks like Wells Fargo or Citibank, sure, you might not be investing money, but your banks are investing your money for you. You don't just put money in an account and they have a bunch of cash. No, banks invest money into the stock market. And so a lot of people might think, oh, this isn't impacting me because I don't own individual stocks. No, honey, it is impacting you. It's actually impacting you pretty hard. And one thing that people aren't realizing is that sure, the billionaires are losing all all billionaires, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, all of them. But what people aren't realizing is that they are going to buy this dip by the billions of dollars. And then once the market goes back up, they're going to make a shit ton of money. That's exactly what Elon Musk did. Elon Musk raised his net worth by so much after 2020. And it was literally because of this, because he took advantage of the stocks, going down. And I think that Donald Trump is doing this on purpose so that he can artificially tamper with the stock market so that his best friends can make more money. He can make more money and then he'll dip. He doesn't have to deal with this anymore. He'll be set. He'll have billions. His friends will all have billions of dollars. And then we, the little people, will all get wiped out financially. It's not only taking our stock markets, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Japan, Italy, Singapore, Sweden, China, Switzerland, Germany, Spain, Netherlands, Australia, France, UK are all seeing stock market plunges. Why? Because Donald Trump just feels like doing it. That's the craziest part. Worst stock market crashes in the US history. 1929, Republican Hoover. 1987, Republican Reagan. 2008, Republican Bush. 2020, Republican Trump. 2025, Republican Trump. So why do we consistently say that Republicans are better at business and the economy when almost every single large-scale recession we have gone through is under Republican presidents? Why do Republicans not understand this? It's probably because of lack of education and lack of understanding of American history. Because if you look at all the other Republican presidents, recessions happen under Republicans, not Democrats. And listen, I'm not one to bat for Democrats. I don't like Democrats either for my own reasons. But when you look at the market, when you look at economically, the people who crash the market are Republicans, not Democrats. Has anyone considered the possibility that the tanking of the stock market is deliberate so that corporate buybacks will be cheaper for the billionaires to buy back with their tax cuts? He gave billionaires a bunch of tax cuts very recently. Then he artificially crashed the stock market, right? Which means that a lot of these billionaires will be able to do corporate buybacks for very cheap, and they already get tax cuts, so they're getting more money inherently. It's all, it's all tied together when you genuinely look at it. But I just genuinely, I don't think people look at it in this way. You know what I mean? I feel like people just, I don't know what Republican voters are thinking. I really don't know. I don't know if they thought Donald Trump was going to save them and was going to make the economy better. I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. Breaking $2 trillion has been erased from the stock market today. That was today, the day that we're filming this, April 7th. How much more are we going to wipe out until enough is enough and the billionaires have gotten as much money as they need? This is the global market meltdown. United States, the only country that's lower than the United States as far as wipeout is Japan. Then you have the United States. China is the least market wipeout. Then Germany, Canada, and United Kingdom are kind of at the same level. I mean, the fact that America's economy is this much worse than China, that's really sad. You are trying to compete against China with these tariffs, and yet you're losing way more. Isn't that crazy? I think this guy is generally a clown, but I liked his tweet. After the Great Depression inspired by tariffs and a trade war, it took the stock market 22 years to recover. So it took America around 10 years to recover from the recession, right? For everything to get back to somewhat normal for the people who are living in America, but it took the stock market 22 years to recover. And this is about the 1930s depression that I was talking about that was triggered by the tariffs that Hoover implemented back in 1929. So if we're going at the rate that we are continuing to go, and if Donald Trump continues to put these tariffs, and not only just continues to put these tariffs, but makes it worse, then it's going to be worse. So on top of all of this, all of the stock, catastrophes, meltdowns, everything, Donald Trump decided to announce 6 hours ago that he is potentially going to put a 104% tariff on China. Do you know how much shit we get from China? This is diabolical. This is insane. U.S. President Donald J. Trump announced that the United States will impose an additional 50% on tariff on Chinese goods if China does not withdraw its recent 34% retaliatory tariff increase by April 8th, 2028. The proposed U.S. tariff would take effect on April 9, 2025, bringing the total tariff on Chinese goods to 104%. No, I didn't see that. Did you see that the Chinese government were talking about the restricting exports of rare earths to the U.S.? That would be really bad for Elon Musk if they do that, because Elon Musk uses a lot of cobalt for his Tesla, and China owns a lot of the cobalt mines in Congo. So if they decide to not give Elon Musk his cobalt that he desperately needs for his Teslas, that man is screwed. So today is the 7th. Let's just do a recap. Today is the 7th of April. He's telling China that they need to drop their retaliatory tariffs by tomorrow. And if they don't drop their retaliatory tariffs by tomorrow, by the day after tomorrow, so by Wednesday, Thursday, we are going to have a 104% tariff on China. And we get everything from China. This is Donald Trump's tweet. Yesterday, China issued a retaliatory tariffs of 34% on top of their already record-setting tariffs, non-monetary tariffs, illegal subsidization of companies, and massive long-term currency manipulation, despite my warning that any country that retaliates against the U.S. by issuing additional tariffs above and beyond their already existing long-term tariff abuse of our nation will be immediately met with new and substantially higher tariffs over and above these initially set. Therefore, if China does not withdraw its 34% increase above their already long-term trading abuses by tomorrow, April 8th, the United States will impose additional tariffs on China, 50% effective April 9th. Additionally, all talks with China concerning their requested meetings with us will be terminated. Negotiations with other countries which have also requested meetings will begin taking place immediately. Thank you for your attention in this matter. If we put a 104% tariff increase on China, we are screwed. We get everything from China. You think prices are expensive now? They're not. The United States has a chance to do something that it should. Oh my God. All he does is fucking babble. Look, he's so delusional. Oil prices are down. Interest rates are down. Food prices are down. There is no inflation. What the fuck is he saying? And the longtime abused USA is bringing in billions of dollars a week from abusing countries on tariffs that are already in place. Make America great again. This is just so bad. Our stock market is crashing. Our stock market is literally crashing, and this man believes he's doing God's work. Stock market today, Dow ends 350 points lower. NASDAQ records largest intraday comeback since 2008. S&P 500 falls in widely volatile trade amid trade war fear. Yeah, they're still trading lower. So NASDAQ went up a little bit. ETFs that buy semiconductor stocks attempt to recovery by brutal April. So, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen given the history of tariffs. Anytime we have imposed tariffs, it's just been a shit show. It's never worked. It's caused us to crash our economy. And it's one of those things where it's like, it's history repeats itself and it's just not going to work. Now, if Donald Trump really has to hit his head into the stone for him to understand that this isn't going to work, then that's what's going to happen. But, you know, a lot of these Republican voters thought that he was going to be God when it came to the economy. And it turns out he has crashed the stock market worse than any other president has in my lifetime, at least. I mean, 2008 recession was pretty bad, but I think this has the potential of being worse than 2008.